The game is live, and starting to the bottom left, we have Elfi, the Finnish player, winning the map on the map Yonsu. It was actually the second game between the two of them. Let's see what he can do here in game number 3 of the series, the best of 5 at the ASUS ROG 2014. And starting to the top left, we have Jaedong, with a happy face and his smile as usual.
Twitter, EG Jaedong.
This guy is just so good at this game, it's not even fair. And he's so consistent in it as well. We have a lot. The one thing about StarCraft, which always amazes me a little bit, that we have so many players who really, like, they have a couple of months a week where they dominate. And then suddenly they completely fall off. We had players like Jakji winning Code S. Then suddenly nobody hears from him in like ages, and now he's starting to get his name out there once again, especially now that he's in a more European team. We had someone like Seed who won against MC in the finals and then just completely fell off. And it seems to be like we have a lot of players who are really just on a roll for a little bit, but they cannot really maintain the same level for a long time. Jaedong, on the other hand, he is just a player that has been in the top 3, top 5 at every tournament that he participated in for like an eternity now.
And the interesting part, to maintain your level, you need to do anything but maintain the way you play. In order to not get stagnant, you need to keep evolving and changing, even if that seems a bit of a, how do you call it, a paradox?
No, I actually completely agree with you.
Developing himself. He keeps developing his style. Before, he was all about playing really standard and then eventually going to mass mutalisks. But now he does like all sorts of stuff. Zergling style, Roach style, Hydra style, Muta style. And I'm sure he could play Swarmos too if he wanted to.
One of the things that I feel is that a lot of players that emerge and then suddenly become really strong, one of the things that they have going for them is that it's very tough to really research properly against them. So if you know you're playing a match against them, there's only a very limited amount of like data available to you, VODs that you can watch.
Right.
But then once they're really in the limelight, they're on everyone's attention, and everyone is just looking at them, trying to copy their builds, trying to find like counters against them, and suddenly it becomes a lot more difficult. And then exactly what you just said comes into play. You need to be able to just diverse your build, change things up a little bit.
Yeah,
and that's something that Jaedong can definitely do, and that he has proven several times now.
Yeah, it's exactly that. And imagine, can you think of what I mean when I say the Stardust build? I guess you know what I mean. It's like, oh yeah, it's a double Forge, Immortal, Zealot, Sentry push that he did before. There, like almost every player who watches these kind of tournaments or fans or pro gamers who try to mimic guys like this, they know the Stardust build. But who knows the Jaedong build? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think there is the Jaedong build, and it shows how many different things he can play.
The same kind of happened at one of the ASUS RGs that we had, where Sun was just crushing through all the Zerg players that he faced because he had like very crisp 2-base all-ins that so far most players realize how to counter. But then it's just figured out, and suddenly you can't do that anymore. Think about how well Naniamar played at one of the Dream Hacks, where he took down most of the Zerg players because he was the first one to start with a gateway again. And at the beginning, that can really crush everybody. But then once the Zerg figures out, okay, when do I have to stop droning? When can I really take my third base? You kind of know how to do against that, and that's when a player has to evolve. And there are certain players, the top players that are very consistent, they can do that. They come up with a build, and they reap the
They use it for what it's worth.
Exactly.
Reap the rewards.
Reap the rewards for a little bit, and then they realize, all right, now I have to come up with something else. And they do
Exactly.
it.
Well said. So let's see where we're at in this game. Third hatchery is finished. No gases yet, which means 3 hatch. It was pool first and a 4-minute third hatchery. The classical build in Wings of Liberty. Let's see what we see from elfi. We've got a robotics. No, we've got a forge here on the way. 3 gateways. No proxy pylons on the map, so I think he's going to go for a quick third. And there we go. Kind of an easy guess since the probe was already moving there, but that's the only way that this build makes sense. No special techs yet. So very economical game here from the both of them. Roach Warren on the way, mass drones. Now, both are playing a greedy game, and the race that does that better usually is Zerg.
Yeah.
When there's no aggression or feigned aggression, and both are playing greed, well, Zerg can make more workers at the same time than what a Protoss can. So they can take a big economic lead, and it will remain to be seen what kind of follow-up elfi does, but I'm liking Jaedong's position so far.
if you personally, as a Protoss player, go up against an opponent like Jaedong and you play on a big map like this, what would you try to do? Like, it's very difficult to really find an answer, and elfi was able to do that on Yonsu, but you could really see that especially on Polar Knight, he struggled a lot, and he was trying to be aggressive. What do you think is the best approach here?
Yeah, I think against Jaedong, aggression or feigned aggression is almost always going to be the best, because his macro is so good, and I don't just mean macro of the larva mechanic, but like, yeah, he really won't miss injects, even in high pressure games. But what he does do sometimes is misjudge the situation when you're going for a rush. For example, last game, he pretty much saw everything, and you would imagine that this is a stoppable strategy. I wouldn't say that you can't stop it, but no Roach Warren or whatever else he needed to do, maybe counterattack with Zerglings or whatever. So sometimes he does misjudge exactly what he needs to do to stop a kind of rush. So I would like him to be unsure rather than sure. And so far, I think he can be very sure that he is the aggressor this game. He can drone when he wants. He can attack when he wants to. And I wouldn't want him to play in such a comfortable position.
Why do you think elfi is doing what he does right now? I mean, elfi is the one who's currently like just laying back a little bit. He can get his third base up. Do you think elfi is just trying to like get his upgrades out there in his tech and then get this Protoss death ball and really try to just overwhelm Jaedong's forces and not give his opponent a chance to remax? Do you think this is the style that he's trying to attempt right now?
Yeah, I think so. Have seen him play games like this in the past. He's getting quick Twilight Council, quick Robo Bay, a lot of economy, so probably looking to do some kind of 3 Colossus, massive amount of Blink Stalker timing. And it has worked out well for him in the past. The game that he won against Jaedong, he had a massive amount of Blink Stalkers. He uses them well. There we go with the second Robo facility. So either that means he wants to get his third Colossus faster than usual with 1 Robo, or maybe he'll go for even more, maybe 4 Colossus. Jaedong, he's diversifying his tech. He got the Infestation Pit, Spire. He's not making much army. He's just got 6 Roaches, 5 Zerglings. The reason he does this, he wants to find out what the Protoss is doing and then chooses. I've played a game like this against Jaedong in the past on Whirlwind. Very difficult. Because of the large distance, he comes in with some Roaches, some Lynx, sees what you have, and only then starts producing. In this case, it's going to be Mutalisk, right as the Spire got scouted. Funny decision.
Yeah, one of the things that is actually like working really well on this map is as soon as the players start to take their 4th map, Roaches and just these small aggressions against the 3rd and the 4th are so effective against Protoss, because also against Terran, there's usually a lack of defense there, and you can as a Zerg really be so mobile on the map. And talking about mobility, I mean, Jaedong going into Mutalisks right now, which is probably one of the most annoying units to Protoss in general, just because they can bounce between all of these bases. And what elfi does here, I like that a lot, really committing to cannons. And I really like this. I feel a lot of Protoss players underuse cannons in this matchup when they are up against this many Mutalisks, because they try to, they think about the investment and they're thinking like, well, there's a lot of resources that are really put into these cannons. But if you are able to force the Mutalisks back with them, I feel they're really worth it. It's of course a little bit situational, and you need to also make sure that you cover all your bases and not just the direct path. But I like that elfi at least is trying to counter this right away. Good snipe down the Mothership Core, by the way.
I wouldn't have the balls to do that, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that was really...
I don't think he even lost the Mita.
Yeah, I might actually have saved all. One of them is really down to the red, but that was going in, seeing it, and immediately saying like, all right, that Mothership Core is mine, and then I bounce back.
Pretty nice snipes there, killing some probes in the natural, killing some probes here. Still hasn't lost one of those Mutalisks.
But he got a little bit lucky that the Blink upgrade isn't done just yet, and that's only seconds away, and then a lot of those Mutalisks might go down. He sees still, of course, that the Twilight Council is working.
Oh, man.
High pressure, but that's a lot of damage done. You're absolutely right.
This is some great play here by Jaedong. He's only lost 1 Mutalisk so far. Now a second, a third one goes down, and he'll lose a number more. But he killed 26 probes.
Yeah, lost a lot of Mutalisks now, but I still think it's worth it here. But I have to say the timing worked out for him so well. Just imagine that Blink upgrade done 5 seconds earlier.
Yeah.
Then he loses, then he can't kill any of the probes in the main base, and at the same time he loses most of the Mutalisks.
Yeah, that would help, but in the end it's still going to be if you don't have Phoenixes, you will lose in the end against
And
Mutas.
let's not forget, this is only a small part of the picture that we are seeing here, because behind all of this, Jaedong reached Hive Tech, goes into Adrenal Glands, into Ultralisk, has even 2 additional bases built on the map. So he's really controlling the pace of this game. And just look at the bank that he accumulated. He's at 3,200 minerals and has the gas to spare. So
he's
right
got 40 roaches right now.
The roaches are aiming straight for that 3rd base, and it's just so difficult for elfi to stop any of this.
Yeah, 4 shots by every roach, and the Nexus is down. These roaches are sacrificial roaches. They're relatively cheap, and he just maxed out on roaches after that great harass with the Mutalisk, and now does so much damage here. Sure, he's going to lose these roaches very, very inefficiently, but they knew that when they were hired in the Zerg Swarm. That's their job. But because he's got so much more economy, he can actually afford it.
He's at
8
5 bases.
8 Ultralisks coming out. Adrenal Glands here.
Yeah, this is absolutely horrible for elfi here. Jaedong is so in control of this game right now. Kaitina's plating is coming up. It's 5 bases against only 2 mining for elfi. And of course the Protoss play immediately trying to set up that Nexus again. Also getting those upgrades out. But it's just Jaedong with an absolute dominant force in the game. And elfi walking across the map and really just trying to turn things around a little bit, giving Jaedong a taste of his own medicine and starting to snipe bases. But I'm not quite sure if he really can do that. It depends a lot on the position where he's then going to engage into a battle. Because if Jaedong gets a surface area with the Ultralisk, I think it's going to be lights out for him.
And it looks like he will. A big flank here coming at 360 degrees surround. Ultralisk and Zerglings coming from every side. Colossus are finding themselves woefully outnumbered and outgunned here as the Ultralisks are smashing through everything. A beautiful sight.
GG. That's exactly where you don't want to fight against this Zerg army as a Protoss player. And Jaedong makes it look easy on Frost. It is a Zerg favored map, that's definitely true, and this is exactly why Jaedong playing it beautifully. Playing the strengths of the map here and the strength of the map in the matchup, so very well done by Jaedong.